WLEE News Talk 990. You are listening to the Community Radio Show.
Whenever you ready, You are listening to the Community Radio Show on WLEE News Talk 990. Good morning, everybody. Today is Saturday, November 3rd, 2012. About 3 days from the election. I can't hear myself, maybe because I don't have my headphones up. I was like, what's going on?
Just not on top of your game. What else is new?
Yes, good morning. You are here with Bukhari Sirraj and my partner in crime here, Muhammad Hadi.
Good morning, everyone.
So what's the deal for today, man?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Just interesting week.
We're just gonna just sit here and give you dead air.
Dead air. Yeah. No. We're gonna throw stats at you. So the numbers to call are 788-0990. Welcome to the Community Radio Show.
That was the fastest set of numbers.
Was it?
Numbers to call 788-0990. Let's just remind everybody this is a call-in show. We would like everybody's opinion and participation throughout. I'll let you get into the topics.
Well, it doesn't matter what our topics are. You can just call in and
tell us, definitely.
Tell us how we bicker like married folks.
Here we go.
We'll be all right, so numbers once again, 788-0990 and 877-953-3990. And if you are at home and don't have an AM radio, you can go to the internet and get a live stream at WLEE990.am.
And you can check out our Facebook page, Community Radio Show, and also our YouTube page where we keep all previous shows archived for the most part. I'm like 9 out of 15. That's youtube.com/Community Radio Show, and follow us on Twitter, ComRadio990.
Yeah. So I've been immersed in all this political the
crap.
The polls, the stats, the spin, all that kind of stuff. And I found so let me ask you a question. Do you know what the total number of electoral college votes are?
Wasn't it like 257 or something like that?
No, you need 270 to become president.
270. I knew there was a 2 and a 7 in there. Yeah, 270. I was close. 257, 270.
It could be 2.7 or 7.2.
Oh, no, I'm not that off.
583. So there's a blog by New York Times, 583, and that's the number of electoral votes you have. So it has fascinating stats on how he's takes all the polls and mushes it all up, for lack of better terms, and comes up. And from what I understand, he has accurately predicted the way the electoral college has panned out. So when I looked at it Wednesday night, Obama had like a 75% chance of winning. And then when I looked at it
75 as of when?
Wednesday night.
Wow.
And then when I looked at it yesterday, that was up to 80.
Really?
Yeah, so I guess it's just... And then we've got the new unemployment numbers that came out, 7.9%. So much for the Labor Department cooking the books in favor of Obama.
Jumped up, 0.1?
Say it again?
It jumped up 0.1.
0.1, yeah. But it added 175,000 new jobs last month, which was on par with what the trajectory of the growth of the economy would be. So, all right, well, so we're actually said 3 days away. Have you made up your mind on who you're going to vote for?
I think I'm going to write my name in.
You are?
Yeah.
What about you, Selvin? He wasn't expecting that. Just give me a thumbs up if you decided. He has. He's going to write it himself too. So there goes two. But so I'm kind of on the fence.
I'm trying to figure out why my tablet just turned off and won't turn back on. God, so
technology. We wanted to hear from you and call. We have two things. We wanted to do our own informal survey, which is not scientific, in that call and tell us who you're voting for. You don't have to give us your name. We don't have caller ID. We don't know who you are.
Yes, we do. No.
Okay. You stop scaring people, man. We don't. That is a lie. We don't. We have no way of knowing who you are. Anything like that.
We don't want to know. We're just, just trying to take.
So we're going to take an informal survey to see who you're voting for. But more importantly, we want to know if there are people out there that are either undecided or the ones that have decided that they're absolutely not going to vote. Because we're talking before the show, and I think between the three of us here, I think we can come up with maybe about 15 to 20 at a minimum that between us, that have decided that they're not going to They're not going to vote.
Probably. Yeah.
So.
All right. So.
You've decided. Yeah. So let me tell you about this interesting conversation I had, and you can tell me.
Oh boy.
What you think? So.
What genre of talk is this in? Is it still political?
No, somewhat.
Oh, okay.
Somewhat. So.
Because we're not going to be talking about politics the whole time. So
yeah,
in case anybody's like, dang it, politics again.
Yeah.
We're going to move on shortly. Just hang on.
Yes, I'm moving on. There you go. So you can tune back in. Well, obviously, if they've tuned away, they're not going to know that we moved on. But no, I mean, it's somewhat ties into politics. And what was that? I went to my friend's man cave for the first time in 8 weeks. Yes.
Man cave.
Yes, the first time I went to watch football, and so we were talking, and I mean, I have to set up the framework for him that he's not by any means someone doesn't know about Muslims or Islam or anything like that. So I wouldn't put him in the camp of being an Islamophobe or an ideological hack or anything like that. But no, because his comments were kind of very revealing to me in that he said that it's concerning to him how much Muslims use their religion as their primary point of identification.
Okay, yeah, we're getting on the right topic now. Okay, yeah.
What? Just you have no faith, man.
No
faith.
Okay.
No faith. He said that when I met you at first, the religion came up in the context of hey, would you like a beer? And so obviously I had to be like, no, I'm cool. So eventually, at some point, I had to tell him that
No, you got in by the beer offer.
Well, no.
Huh?
I mean, yeah, I got a couple of times, but
Right.
he was fine with it. So he said. So he said in my mind, in his mind, what that means is that we as Muslims put more weight and priority on our affiliation to religion, and so therefore, by default, that means that we don't have an affiliation, or we don't put any priorities for having an allegiance to a country.
Okay.
You see, so therefore, since I identify myself as Muslim, therefore, and I don't identify myself as American, therefore, I don't have an allegiance to the Constitution. And so that obviously spuns off, snowballs into, I don't, the question of allegiance comes in, the priority comes in. What is it that my ultimate aim is
right.
for, changing these, particular things in the Constitution that may or may not be against my.
So he asked you what your aim is for changing things in the Constitution?
No, not that. But he just said that in his mind, that's what he would think. That's what he thinks. In that,
okay.
If someone is. And you can take out Islam and put something else in it.
Right.
If you have an allegiance to something other than the Constitution of the country, and you're living in that country, then by default it means that, what is it that you're doing if you don't have allegiance to the Constitution of the country or the laws of the place that you live in. So, I thought that was fascinating in that part of it is because he is conservative. As well, he feels that because of the direction that the country is going in and becoming more liberal, and he separated being liberal from being Democrat, but liberal in accepting of everything, that therefore we're going to go down this path to where someday they're going to accept Sharia law.
Right.
It's some like they're doing in some parts of Europe. So I know it's a lot to throw out there, but I guess the
just a little bit.
the crux of it is there do as Muslims, is that your primary allegiance and point of identification? Right.
Now, I talked to some brothers about this the other day.
Did you?
Got into a nice little conversation. And I mean, there's and I told you my feelings about it, because the way that I look at it, with a lot of Muslims, even if you when you hear in the media, sometimes you hear American Muslim or you have Muslim American. Now, of course, it's just a toss around of words, but it still kind of holds a significance because even somebody like me that's I'm not trying to paint any dots on my back or anything here, so don't take it out of context. But, somebody like me that was born in this country, there is that allegiance to the country because this is my native home. This is my home. You know what I mean? This is somebody asked me, where am I from? I'm from America. I have a lot of appreciation for America. But it goes outside of, just the, I guess the political part, just, the Constitution, things like that. I mean, there are things there that you may not necessarily agree about from a religious standpoint and things like that with, local laws or something like that. But because you have that respect, and I guess, quote unquote, that allegiance to your country, there are things that you, will willingly tolerate and deal with and respect. That's the big part of it. But when you're looking at it at a standpoint of importance, religion is always going to be more important than allegiance to a country. And I think that's any country, because anywhere that I go in the world, I'm still going to say that I'm Muslim. And all of my core values have been established because of my religion, not necessarily because of where I'm at or where I'm living or, the laws that I'm following, this and that, So from that standpoint, especially sometimes I don't understand people's logic sometimes, because the thing is, if you're a religious person, whether you're Christian or, Jewish or anything like that, when you're a practicing person of your faith, generally God is going to have a higher, more elevated standpoint than, the president or, law enforcement or whatever it may be, not that you would, like I said, disrespect or dishonor or anything like that, but from a deeper, a heartfelt point of view, your allegiance is going to be with your Lord, and that's where that's kind of my standpoint where I come from, I mean,
right.
that's the most important. I mean, when not to get too, deep into religion, but I mean, when you die, guess what? I mean, you're buried in the ground and that's it. But according to your belief, there's, an afterlife and things happen from there. And at that point, who the president is doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? The Constitution doesn't really matter. At that point, it's, okay, how were you living your life according to your faith? That's all that really matters. So looking at it from a standpoint of, either my 60, 70, 80-year-old, lifespan or eternity, I think, my religion is a little bit more important. That's just, how it is.
You're listening to the Community Radio Show on WLEE, News Talk 990.
Call in.
Numbers to call are 788-0990, 877-953-3990. We're talking about the discussion of identity vis-a-vis Muslims and using that as their primary identification point. And feel free to call in and either agree or disagree or, take us off on a completely different tangent. But but here,
I know you have like 10 pages of statistics.
No. Inherent in that is that inherent in what you said is, yes, you have an allegiance to, your religion, but the problem with that is seen out there is that as a Muslim, right, your allegiance, the priority that you give to your faith, right, inherently presents a conflict with the values and the laws of the United States.
And not necessarily. And if you want to go with one specific aspect of your religion, as well from an Islamic standpoint, one aspect of Islam is that you have to obey and follow the laws of the land in which you live, as long as they don't prevent you from practicing your religion or being able to make your prayers. You have to follow and respect the laws of your land.
Right.
So I mean, just from that context alone, it kind of puts a lot of the I think questioning of allegiance and what's your agenda to rest.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying I might agree with it. I'm just putting out there, please
I'm not putting. He's looking at me like, this guy's getting mad at me. No. I'm just responding. That's all.
It's similar. If we can put it in a historical context, I think the closest thing that we may be able to associate this with would be the questioning of the allegiance that the Catholics, particularly the ones that immigrated here from Ireland and Western Europe, had with respect to their allegiance to the Pope and the Vatican versus their allegiance to the country that they're in now, the United States. And I think part of, and I think, if you go back and look at when JFK ran, that was the main thing.
Right.
Is he going to is he going to answer to the Pope in executing his duties as president, versus is he going to listen to listen to the quote unquote Constitution in executing his duties as president? So I think there's a little bit of similarities. That the problem, and I don't necessarily agree. I don't agree that to have any faith, if you to have an allegiance to your faith or put priority to your faith as an identification point, that conflicts with American values, specifically Islamic values. Because here's why. Number one, I don't think that the American values are Judeo-Christian by themselves. Judeo-Christianity does not have a monopoly on these kind of values that exist. Furthermore, if we go back and look at the origins of the founding fathers and the founding documents, they were from Europe. And at that time, there was a significant influence of Muslims in Europe, vis-a-vis the Moors in Spain, and some of the writings and the translations of historic documents from the Greeks and Romans that were translated into Arabic and then English. So there was a lot of the Muslims that preserved a lot of that, those documents. So a lot of that found its way into the founding documents of that helped found this country. And so I think those principles are not inherently, they don't clash with one another. I think that's just a myth. Now, I'll give you an example. Just recently in Florida, I want to say Miami-Dade, but don't quote me on that. A group of Muslims went to the multicultural committee of their school board requesting to recognize Muslim holidays, because what was happening was when they went to the school before, they said there's not a large number of Muslims in the schools enough for us to do this. There's close to 20,000 Muslim kids in this school district, of which nearly 92% of the parents said they take their kids to the religious prayer service on the two holidays. And so that's a significant number. Right. But the way that's being spun is, you Muslims are trying to change the laws of here. You want us to accommodate you in a special way that we don't accommodate other people, which is complete hogwash, because they accommodated. They were closed for Rosh Hashanah. They were closed for Good Friday. They were closed for a couple of other specific Jewish holidays, and there's a smaller number of Jewish students than there are Muslim students, and so that's not inherently changing the laws of the country. That's just, hey, if you know that you have 20,000 students of this particular population, and on this day they have their holiday, it's probably not a good idea to schedule a test that day. Because they're not going to show up. Regardless of whether you flunk them or not, they're not going to show up. And I think that's the part that the allegiance comes more higher up, that, they're not going to show up, and you're going to have to deal with that. Deal with that later on. So I think there's definitely a lack of understanding as far as what we want as far as accommodating. No, we don't want accommodations as far as, implementation of, foreign law, as they will. I always feel like I need to have that music in the background. Dun, 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 and the thing. But we can expand on this. We have a guest coming up after the break. We're going to talk about this, because I have a specific. We can specifically talk about it, particularly within relation to African American Muslims, and how I think it's a little bit more codified within that community than within the immigrant Muslim community. So you're listening to Community Radio Show on WLEE News Talk 990. Our numbers are 788-0990, 877-953-3990. We'll be back after a short break.
Sure will.